This is question number 10, starting with question number 10 on your worksheet. For Intro to IM2, actually it's your notes from Intro to IM2, equations of lines. We just finished questions 1 through 9, and I would encourage you to pause the video right now, students, and try to do number 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 on your own as a practice to get ready for tomorrow and for the upcoming quiz and test. I'll go ahead and start the problems now, but if you would, pause the video, try the problems, each one in a row. As you finish the question, then go ahead and play the video and check your answers and see if you're getting the same answer. Okay, question number 10. What is the equation of this line? Well, here's the line they're talking about. What is the equation? What we need to know, this is a straight line. We know we can put it in the form y equals mx plus b. Let's take a look at the things we know. Look at the y-intercept. The y-intercept is at y equals 2. So the y-intercept is at 2. The slope, let's take a look at our slope. I see that these 2 points are on my line, so I'm going to use those for slope. Now I can pick either point to start with. I'm going to start with this point right here. And to get from here to here, I'll do rise first. I'm going to go up 1. So my rise is positive 1. And my run is 1, 2, 3. That's negative 3. We're moving negative direction on the x-axis. So it is negative 3. And I can just write that as negative 1/3. It's the same thing as 1 over negative 3. If you would have picked this point and went the other way, you would have had negative 1 as your rise and positive 3 as your run. You would have still ended up with negative 1/3. Okay, so the equation of this line, no problem. We know that it's going to be in the form y equals mx plus b. The slope m is negative 1/3. And then we have x. The y-intercept is positive 2. There is your equation. Not as complicated as it seems. Okay, now it says, number 11, graph a parallel line which passes through this point, 3, negative 3. Well, let's plot that point. So, starting at the origin, positive 3, 1, 2, 3 on the x-axis, negative 3 on the y-axis. So they want us to find a line that is parallel to this line, but it passes through this point. And class, hopefully we should see that all you have to do is just make sure the slope is the same. So if our slope is negative 1/3, let's just go ahead and plot a few points. So remember, on this existing line, I went up 1 and over to the left 3, so positive 1, negative 3. I'm going to go positive 1, negative 3. Positive 1, negative 3. Positive 1, negative 3. That gives me enough points. Let's go ahead and draw that line. Oh, again, I forget my line tool. Not a very pretty line. So we are going to graph, try to make it very exact and precise, so I can see visually it's parallel. Remember, parallel, a line has infinite length, so it's going to continue on in both of those directions. Let's go ahead and darken these points up so we can see them on our final work. There's that point, that point, that point. Here is our original point at 3, negative 1. So we graphed our parallel line. Question number 12. What is the slope of the new line? Well, it's parallel. What do we think, class? The slope is the same. So the slope of the new line is negative 1/3. All right, you know what? Let's change this. We should be writing these as complete sentences. What is the slope of the new line? The slope is negative 1/3. What is the y-intercept of the new line? Well, let's take a look. We put a point right here. We're crossing the y-axis. It's at negative 2. From the origin, we go down 2. That means y is negative 2. So we can write the y-intercept is negative 2. All right. What is the equation of the line? Well, that's just as easy as it was in the previous questions there. Number 8, what's the equation of the line? We know the slope. We know the y-intercept. All we have to do is write it as y equals mx plus b. The equation is y equals negative 1/3. There's our slope, x. And then the y-intercept is minus 2. Now look at the slope. Slope is negative. That makes sense, right? Both of these lines have a negative slope. As we move from left to right, the line is going down. It's a negative slope. All right, compare and contrast the two lines. Well, now I didn't give you any help. You got to do this from the beginning. Compare and contrast the two lines. The two lines you should pause the video and finish this class, and I'll go ahead and do it, but pause it and see if you come up with something the same as mine. The two lines are the same because they have the same slope. Sorry, my writing is always so messy. They are the same because they have the same slope, and they are different that got a little messy there. And they are different because, let's just mention the y-intercept, because they have a different y-intercept. Okay, that should be a good enough explanation. Compare and contrast. We decided to explain what are they, how are they the same, and we described with contrast. We decided or described how are they different.